Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm using, this will be the fourth card, thank you card that I'm making for some friends of mine, and I am just going to quickly run through the product and then we're going to do something a little bit different. So, excuse me, I have Early Espresso. This is just a nice dark brown dye that I wanted for my sentiment. The sentiment comes from the stamp set from the Simon Says Stamp October 2022 card kit, which is what I'm using another product from that in a minute. I'll show you. So that's for the sentiment. I have a bunch of distressings here in the oxide. So I have gathered twigs and ground espresso. I have scattered straw and fossilized amber at least, peeled paint and forest moss. And I need my brushes. Sort of prepared. I also have a piece of the yellow cardstock that came in the card kit. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is like a dandelion kind of yellow. Is that what it's called? Can't remember. Anyway, an A2 yellow card. That's what the base is going to be. I have some Bristol smooth cardstock here, which I'm going to use for the main thing that we're going to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the stencils that came in the card kit, and we're going to just stencil them on. No stamp to coordinate. We're going to use that as our bit of art on our card. And then I will cut down this piece. This is bigger than an A2, so let me just grab my brushes, because that would be helpful. Obviously. So I have the brushes. Sorry about that. And then I also have my revamped what's this thing called? The Waffle Flower Media Mat. If you've seen my video, I kind of revamped it and made it my own. So I have that, and I'm also going to use, actually I might not need that, but that's okay. Right, so the reason I brought this thing out is because it's got a little lip here. So what I'm going to be able to do is butt my cardstock up into the corner, and then do the same thing with my, I might turn it around, but do the same thing with my stencils, so I know where to place them. I don't have to think about placement, I could just butt them up in there. Whereas if you've stamped the image, you can then line up the image with the stencil, whereas obviously we're not doing it that way. So let's just see. Because actually I want to make sure, actually I think I'm going to use it as it is, because I'll still get some good thingamabobs. Excuse me. If I do it upside down, I'm not going to get the flowers as much, because I'm just not. Right, so I am going to use it, cardstock is butted up into the corner, and then I am going to butt the stencil up into the corner as well, and that will give me enough placement. Once we've got some colour on there, it'll be easier to see. So for the stem part of the leaves, I'm starting with peeled paint and just a little blending brush thingy, and we're just going to go for it. Just getting that colour on there. And don't forget, when you start with a larger piece of cardstock, you can always cut that down afterwards so it fits your card better, which we will need to do anyway. Let's start with that, and then I was going to try and do some blending, but I think I'm just going to go each colour as I go. So I'm just going to pop that somewhere safe. Then I'm going to grab my forest moss green. Let's just clean this off. So this is my darker shade. And I'm going to grab the next stencil, which is the leaves and these sort of inner piece things. Oh, that's not in place. That makes more sense. Just making sure everything is where it should be. And I'm going to go a little lighter with this because it's quite a dark cardstock. Cardstock ink. And it's got more of a browny tone to it. It's kind of weird. But and ink on there. Beautiful. My two greens in place there. Now I'm going to come in with the yellow for the sunflowers, and you can still sort of see where that would need to line up. And sorry about that, I think I got cut off. So what I did was I used the scattered straw over the flowers and then just took the fossilized amber just around the edges as good as I could get it. Just gives it a bit of shading and defines it a little better, which is also what I was going to try and do with the leaves, but it's fine. And then the last one I'm going to pop on here is for the centers. And I'll start with the gathered twigs and we'll just see what happens. And just going in fact I can just go in from one side, give them a light sort of brushing if you like. This one's probably going to be mostly that, and then just blend it. Again, it just gives it a bit of shading. It's not quite so flat, like so. I like that actually. I'm going to leave it like that. I may go back in just with the leaves, sorry, the stems, and some forest moss. So let me just get that quickly. Here's my green. And just, again, just defining them. I might just do a little bit. Nothing too major, just gives a little bit of shading, and I think that'll do. Right, so there's, I've got a bit of double going on there, but that's fine. So there is just the stencils on their own, which I think is so cool. So I am going to have to cut this down. So that's my trusty paper trimmer. So I have, let's see, I have about 6 inches here. So I'm just going to trim some of that edge off. I've got 6 and I need to go, I'm just gonna guess to start with, and go in the other side. Need 5 1/4, and that just trims off each of the edges here. I've got ink on here, so that's not gonna do very well. I want to keep the bottom edge, so I'm just going to go in straight away at 4 inches. So we have a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, 4 by 5 1/4 piece that will then sit on there just like that. Now these are oxides, which is why there's a bit of movement on the old ink, so I may have to just do a bit of clean up afterwards, but that's fine, I can fix that. So I think what I want to do now is get this onto a card base. I'm just going to use a tape runner. Ooh. Helps if you don't stick it to your disc. And then we will just go straight on there. Like that. It's not perfectly straight, but it'll do. And then we've just got our sentiment, which I'm going to use the early espresso ink again, and I think I'm just going to pop it up here. Like so. And that's it, guys. How super easy was that with the layering stencil? Still makes a really pretty card, and I've now done all my thank you cards. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and until next time, I will see you later. Bye for now.